Hi everyone, I'm Kelley, part owner Dream Creators.
And I'm Queen, founder of Kimara V Planners.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Scenes with Kelley and Queen. Before we begin, we want to ask you to please like, share, and subscribe. Just click the button on the right and like, share, and subscribe. You know you're enjoying our channel because if you're back, you're definitely enjoying it.
Exactly.
Today, we are talking about something that is not normally spoken about, but we do feel as planners is something, it's part of life, so we must discuss it. And that is planning a funeral for a loved one. You know, it's always very difficult because emotions are really high at that time, because you're grieving. But so we're here. We're going to try and help you out, give you some tips on what to remember when planning a funeral. The first tip for me would be, now depending on the age of the deceased and where you are located, you have to take culture into consideration, you have to take religion into consideration. I think the Muslims, it's quite fast. They do it on the same day, so theirs is not as prolonged as Christians. For Christians, the first thing to remember is if it's an older person, you want to start setting up the committees. I'm sure the committee people will already be ready. The committees will normally be handling things like the church, like printing of the program, service of songs, and stuff like that. So you want to first of all set up the committees and give people their job descriptions, what they're going to be doing in regards to the funeral.
Yes, and another tip is contact an event planner. You know, sometimes you're grieving and it's such a sensitive period and a very emotional period. You don't have the strength to do this thing on your own. So it's best to call a planner to interact with the vendors. Because I know when we lost our dad, God rest his soul, it was so stressful for my mom that she didn't get involved in, the planning, and it was done in the village. So my uncles just handled everything because my mom didn't have the mental capacity to do anything. So it was such a tough time for us. So it would be best for you to just hand over everything to an event planner to save you stress and give you more time to grieve.
Yes, exactly. Another very important thing is to communicate with the mortuary attendants. Very, very important.
Very important.
Because that's where your loved one is being kept until their final goodbye. They also have a list of things they normally require you to provide. So they normally require things like gloves, perfume or oils, a sponge, soap. So they would give you a more detailed list. This is just a few things that they do require sometimes. So it's always good to communicate with the mortuary attendant where your loved one is being kept.
And another tip is set up a condolence table.
Yeah.
It's very, very important where you can have like a register, people come in and sign like an attendance, people drop like notes or anything. You can have like a candle, you can have like a picture of the person, or you can also have like flowers.
Yes.
It's very, very
fresh
important.
flowers if you can. Again, silk is still okay, but I think when it comes to funerals, I prefer everything fresh because it's more like this is life, and so using things that are alive around the situation, it's very significant. If you can, on your condolence table. And I think one of the last ones we have for you is if this is an older person that passed away, so not a younger person, but an older person.
Which is a celebration of life.
There is something that's all the craze now. In Ghana, I think we've all seen the Ghanaian pallbearers. If that is something you would want to do to show, especially if the person was a fun individual. So you can look at, I'm not saying go to Ghana, or I'm sure we can get our pallbearers here
in Nigeria
to add a little bit more action as we're dancing them to their final resting spot. So those are some of the things to remember when you are in the process of planning a funeral. Very important to contact the planner, though, Queen. That's a really good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now let's talk about how we've been able to, grieve like a loved one.
Handle our grief. For me, I lost someone. We all lose people, but I lost someone. She was my roommate, my maid of honor. So I lost her in October, I believe. And for me, I mean, I just cried. I let myself cry. I think you need to give yourself the opportunity to just cry. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like, oh, they wouldn't want me to cry or anything. Just cry, because this is someone, crying just shows how much you love them and how much you're going to miss them. So don't beat yourself up if you're crying and you can't control your tears.
And then you need to understand that it's not going to last forever.
Amen.
This feeling is not going to last forever, you know. So take out your time, whatever it is you need to do, and then remember them, you know, it's just in your own time. There's no pressure. If you feel like crying, like Kelley has said, cry. If you don't feel like crying, it's fine. If you want to laugh, fine, it's fine. And then, you know, people always say, oh my God, you have to cry. Some people don't even cry till maybe like a year later.
Yeah,
just
true.
Allow yourself, you know, you're feeling normal, it's okay, and understand that this feeling is normal. People are also going through this.
Yes.
It's not just you, you know, it's very, very important.
Another thing I did that helped me a lot, and I'm grateful for technology, is on my WhatsApp, we used to send ourselves a lot of voice notes. So I play back her voice notes to myself, and then I also send her messages. I actually still send messages to the number. So I've sent like a ton of messages. I know I'm not going to get a response, but it's also very therapeutic to just say, hey, I miss you. I really wish you were here. Such and such thing just happened to me. You know, and you just share things with them, and you feel good.
And another thing is, please be gentle on yourself.
Oh yes.
Sometimes when you lose a loved one, you want to kill yourself. You want to drink to stupor, you want to drive into a train. No, be gentle on yourself.
Yes.
You need to think, this person that has gone, is this person going to be happy if you do something bad to yourself? The person will not be happy, because the person has gone and that person wants you to live. Yes. So you need to be gentle on yourself. You don't have to kill yourself, because there's still life ahead of you. That person has lived their life. It's not your turn to live your own life to the fullest.
Right.
Very, very important.
And the last one is talk to someone. Talk to someone. If the grief feels so much, if you feel like you've reached the level of depression, you talk to a specialist. There's nothing wrong in reaching out to someone who specializes in this. If it's not borderline depression, you can talk to a friend. You reach out to your friend and just express yourself. Whatever it is, don't stop talking. Just talk to someone and get the help you need. If you do need us to give you some numbers of counselors and stuff, just comment in the comments below and we will reach out to you and help you out with that.
Okay, that's fine. So
yes,
next
so
topic.
Fun ways. We don't want this to be such a drabby one, but it is one that we do have to talk about. So we want to talk about fun ways to remember your loved ones.
Yay.
Okay, so fun ways to remember those that have passed away. I know one that we do, I mean, it's right after we do have a reception. Right after, like, we lay them to rest. If it's an older person, it always turns into this big party because we're celebrating their life. And then, you know, you could just have like a dinner later on, maybe on their birthday or something, but just another day to celebrate them.
Another way is you can commission a piece of artwork, you know, a piece of art, anything that reminds you of them, you know, and guess what? You can even converse with them. You can have a conversation with them. Look at their picture, talk to them as if they were alive, you know, it's fun. Remember the fun memories you had with them and laugh, you know, it's okay. You're not crazy. You're just very, very normal.
Yes, that's true. Another one you can do is set up a foundation. Set up a foundation in their honor. I know we've lost a lot of people to cancer lately. So you see a lot of foundations coming up. And when you actually do speak to the founders, there's always a story behind. And they always share, you know, I lost my mom through cancer, so I've set this foundation up for her. And so that's a good way to keep their memory going. So set up a foundation that, you know, raises money to, you know, eradicate whatever happened to them, or, you know, provides medical care for people that are having whatever issue they're having. So
yes, another thing is take a trip with them.
Take a trip.
Take a trip. And when I say take it, I don't mean take the body and take a trip. What I mean is, if you know there's a particular place they've always wanted to travel to, maybe Spain, maybe some African country, you can just travel.
That's a good one. Just
you, and just remember, and then show, just, you know, take everywhere you feel they would have loved to go to. You know, that's really a fun way. And it even gives you time to be alone in your thoughts with them, but they're present. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very, very important.
Yeah, thanks for that tip, Queen.
You're welcome. So now we've talked about 5 ways or 5 tips on how to handle or plan a funeral. And Kelley and I have also shared how we're able to handle grief. You know, and
our grief.
Exactly, our
Yes.
grief. So, and we talked about fun ways to remember a loved one, because we didn't want it to be too emotional. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And let us know on the comment section how you've been able to handle grief. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, like, and thank you so much for joining us on Behind the Scenes with Kelley and Queen. Au revoir.